Good morning everyone. This is Neha Rastogi from the Millennium School, South City, Lucknow. Children, if you remember in the last video, we were talking about the primary functions of the commercial banks. The primary functions of commercial banks were to accepting deposits and granting loans. They accept various types of deposits like demand deposits, saving deposits, fixed deposits, and they also give various types of loans like fixed loans, short-term loans, right? Demand loans, cash loans, etc. Right? Now today we are going to start with secondary functions of the commercial banks, which are not very important. Primary functions means which are very important functions of commercial banks, which are the core functions of commercial banks. These secondary functions are not very important functions of commercial banks, but yes, these are also the part of the commercial banks. All commercial banks perform these functions also, but they are not the core functions, right? The secondary functions are divided into three categories. First is discounting of bills of exchange, second is agency functions, and third is general utility functions. Now let's understand them one by one, children. First of all, discounting of bills of exchange. Okay. Before understanding what discounting means, we should know what bills of exchange are. Children, bills of exchange are usually your promissory notes. Suppose if I buy something from Mr. X, that means I have to pay him the money also. I have to pay him for the sales that he has done to me, or I have to pay him for the purchases done by me from him, right? So I have to pay him either in cash or through checks, or I can also promise him, if I don't have money right now, I can promise him to pay in future. But that promise may be verbal or it can be written. A verbal promise may be due to a good understanding between both of us, but if we do not have a very good understanding, then I can give him a written document in which I will mention the date on which I will be making payment to him, right? And that written instrument or written note is known as promissory note or bill of exchange, right? Commerce students must have actually studied it in their accounts. I know, children, bills of exchange and promissory notes are different, but here I am trying to explain you, and similarly I am trying to explain to the humanities students also. That is why I am not differentiating between them, right? So don't worry about that ma'am is saying bills of exchange as promissory notes. It is easier for you all to understand it with the term promissory note because you can relate with it. Promissory notes are the promises to pay in future. So bills of exchange are basically the types of instruments, written instruments, which is a kind of promise by the purchaser to the seller that he will be paying this amount on a due date, right? Now suppose, children, I have given a promissory note or a bill of exchange to Mr. X when I have purchased things from him. Suppose I have given him a promissory note or a bill of exchange for rupees 20,000. Now suppose he needs the money before the due date. What he can do, he can go to the bank, to his bank, present that promissory note or bill of exchange to the bank and tell them to discount it. Now what do you mean by discounting of bill of exchange? Children, that bill of exchange was for rupees 20,000. When that Mr. X goes to the bank and tells the bank to discount it, that means he is ready to forego or sacrifice some amount, because obviously on the due date, now if Mr. X will give the bill of exchange to bank, who is going to get the amount on the due date? Obviously bank. That means I will pay to bank rupees 20,000. But then bank is not going to pay 20,000 to Mr. X because Mr. X is trying to get that money before the maturity date. So why will bank pay him before the maturity date 20,000 rupees? Bank will obviously charge some commission from Mr. X for discounting his bill of exchange. So bank cuts some amount and gives the rest amount to Mr. X. Now suppose bank has cut 500 rupees and has given 19,500 rupees to Mr. X as the payment of his bill of exchange, right? So that 500 rupees is the profit for the bank, and 500 rupees is the discount given by Mr. X to the bank, because now on the maturity date bank will receive 20,000 and Mr. X has only got 19,500. That means he has given a discount to the bank and bank will receive 20,000 from me. That means they will have a profit for rupees 500. So it is a profit for them but a discount for the one who has given his bill of exchange to the bank. That means Mr. X. So commercial banks also provide the discounting facilities on the bills of exchange to their customers. Second function is agency function. Children, commercial banks acts as the agents for their customers. Agents for their customers. That means they do various services on behalf of their customers. Now let's see what. They transfer funds. You must be knowing. Many a times you pay your school fee from your bank account directly through NEFT, RTGS, right? So your commercial banks helps in transferring your funds from one account to another account. Commercial banks also collects and makes payments on the behalf of their customers. Collects the payments from, suppose you have some insurance policy which is maturing on some day. So the bank will directly collect it from the insurance company. Or suppose if you have to make the payment of premium to the, or make the payment of installment to the insurance company or to any person or to any organization. And if you instruct your commercial bank that the commercial bank should be paying on every 5th of every month, 5th day of every month, then without asking you as an agent, they will be doing it on your behalf. So they collect payments on your behalf and they also make payments on your behalf. They buy and sell foreign exchange for you on your behalf. Buy and sell foreign exchange means they buy foreign currency for you. And if you have got excess of foreign currency after returning from some foreign country, then they also sell it in the market. They buy and sell shares, debentures and bonds on your behalf. That means financial assets on your behalf. Many a times they advise their customers that which company is growing. So they advise their customers for buying shares of X company, for buying debentures of X company. So they keep on advising their customers related to the buying and selling of shares, debentures and bonds, or you can also call them financial assets. They also provide advices to their customers on income tax, right? They keep on suggesting that what investments their customers can do so as to save their income tax. They keep providing guidances to their customers. They act as trustee and executors, children. Do you know what trustee means? Here, it means that a person can have a trust on the commercial banks and keep their valuables with the commercial banks, right? For example, if somebody makes his will, that person can keep the will with the bank, right? So bank keep it in good trust. So banks acts as a trustee for his customers and execute that bill to the family members after the person who has made the will dies, right? So they act as trustees and as executors. I hope you are able to understand the functions of the commercial banks as agents which they perform for their customers. Transfer of funds. They collect and make payments on their behalf, buy and sell foreign securities on the behalf of their customers, buy and sell shares, debentures and bonds, income tax advisors, and they also act as trustees and executors. Now comes the third type of secondary function, that is general utility functions. Children, these functions can be provided by banks to anyone, not necessarily to their customers. It can be provided by government, by the commercial banks to just any person, whosoever comes for it. First is the locker facility. In the lockers with the banks, you can keep your valuables safely. So they provide locker facilities. They provide traveler's check. Nowadays, we have got all these debit cards and credit cards which we carry abroad, right? Visa cards and all. But previously, children, there were no debit plastic money. So at that time, commercial banks used to give traveler's check, which we could get encashed in other countries. So they used to make a traveler's check for us, through which it was easier for us to carry money from one place to another place. Because see, carrying money from one place to another place is risky. So we used to convert the money through our commercial banks into a traveler's check, which we could encash in the other countries. They also issue letter of credit. Letter of credit here means the letter of goodwill. This function they basically perform for their customers, right? Because they know that their customers have a good standing. A good standing in the sense they have a good standing in their account, right? They have a sufficient money in their account. So on the basis of that sufficient money and on the basis of seeing their goodwill, that their checks do not get bounced, they also issue letter of goodwill or letter of credit to their customers. Why these letter of credits are required by the customers? Children, many a time when a person wants to do export and import business, or they want to trade with anyone within the country also, right? Trading is mostly done on credit basis. So how will the another person know? Another person who is giving you goods without taking any money, giving you goods on credit, how will he know your credit worthiness? So banks provide you a letter which you can give to that person so that he can, without any fear, trade with you. So these are the letters of credit which are issued by the commercial banks for their customers. Letter of goodwill. I hope, children, all these functions are clear to you. Now in the next video, we are going to do the most important thing, that is credit creation. The most important function of commercial banks, credit creation. Right? Till then, children, take care. Have a good day.